Hi boys and girls, it's me. I'm in the lair again. So what am I going to talk about today? I've got a little bit of a radio story to share. It's kind of a nice radio story, but it's got a bizarro twist to it. So let me get on with it. Go back a couple videos. You can remember the Christmas New Jersey Antique Radio Club Christmas party from 2019. I think that was 3 videos back at this one by the time I posted. So it's a fun video. It's a fun game. We all enjoy it. It's a thing where you put in a gift that's valued $20-25 or more, and people now go ahead and have this game, and the idea is to really come home with the nicest radio or nice radio, and it's kind of a neat way to gift yourself. So the last couple of years I've tried to put in nice stuff. In 2018 I did a Transoceanic that went to ultimately the ex-president of the New Jersey Antique Radio Club, Phil, and that was kind of nice. But this year I went a little bit different. So what I did was I put in I think it was a model J615 Zenith radio. And it's from the early 50s, and it was a green painted radio, as you can see here in the video. Now if you look here, here's my friend Bob. He was the one that first opened up the box that Mrs. RW nicely wrapped, and he pulled out the radio, and from the crowd you could hear there was some oohs and ahs, because this is a really nice radio. I did a bunch of work to it. And I actually had to rebuild an IF when IF had silver mica disease. Totally recapped the line, and the radio was good to go. The radio managed to pass a couple hands as it went through the video, and then ultimately at the end, our professor, Dr. Alex Magoon, got the radio, and I was happy to see that he got it in the end, because last couple of years he kind of got gifted some things that weren't all that desirable. Okay, so now you've seen that part of the story. What happened was that during the party, one of the members, and particularly the member, his wife, saw that green Zenith and said, "Man, that's a nice radio. I'd like to have one of them." So he pursues trying to find one. Okay. And he goes on eBay and buys one. He found literally the same radio. If you look carefully in that video, you can see there was a small chip out of the one corner of the radio. But it wasn't too bad. I mean, but it was still a really nice piece. And I spent a lot of time on it. So anyway, he gets this radio. And, and I was working at the museum that we have. We have a museum. And I was there working. And I said, well, he says, well, I got the radio. I'm having some problems with it. We were exchanging emails. So I'll just bring it down to the museum. I'll be at the museum, and he lives close by where our museum is in Wall Township, Belmar. Brings it, and I look at it. I say, all right, let me just take it home and look at it, and I'll do my magic, and I'll give it back to you. So now here's where the story gets interesting. Okay, so here's the radio chassis. Didn't have to do a whole lot of work to this thing. You can obviously see the new capacitors in there that were replaced from the wax capacitors. I think there was a total of 6 wax capacitors I replaced, and then I found a 4.7K resistor that was reading about almost 5.4K. So that got taken out. I also added a line cord, polarized line cord to it, just for added safety. And it's pretty good. It's not as nice as the other one, but it's close. And it was kind of dirty, and it belonged to a smoker, and I polished up the lacquer and everything to make it a little buff it out. You know, it has some scratches on it. No cracks in the Bakelite like the other one now. You look on top here, and you can see those 2 holes there were actually intended to get a handle. But if you look over here to the right, and you see that discoloration there, come to find out what it was after I was cleaning the radio up. Okay, now here are the two knobs that go on the two shafts, respectively, of the radio. And you can see that they were injection molded. They have these ribs here to give it some added rigidity. Now, of course, these are all nice and clean now. I cleaned them up. However, when I took them off, let's see, which one was it? I could tell you right now because one has it filled in. It was this one particular. This had a little bit, but this was like really packed. You know, it's funny, what I'm about to say might isn't pleasant. I've actually, taken radios apart and found like things like dead rats, and sometimes they put asbestos in radios, so you wet it down and carefully remove it. But that little bit right there, and what was inside the ribs of these knobs was vomit. Dried up, who knows how many year old barf was in this radio. Now, I've been working on radios for a long time, but this is the first time I've ever experienced anything quite like this. So that's why I haven't put the handle back on yet. I even went ahead and I polished up the little emblem in front, and I painted clear lacquer over it just like I do to Transoceanics. But I just figured I'd share that with you. I just thought that was just really really bizarre. So it's my first barf radio.
And that's powerful stuff.
Alrighty, well, here's the radio. It's now, I'm going to consider it in its finished state. I've got the handle back on top of it. The chassis is in there. I've got the knobs on. And they don't really smell, at least I'm not smelling them now, unless you get really right up close to it. It's really odd, but what I ultimately did was to try to control the odor. Was I took some clear lacquer and I sprayed clear lacquer inside of the knobs. And after about 5 coats of it, and I'm not exaggerating, there's 5 coats of lacquer inside the knobs, and it kind of masked the odor. And I would think, or I would hope, that after time it's going to all go away. So for lack of a better word, the green Zenith, aka the Pepe Le Pew Special, is now done, functional, and ready to go back to the owner. So anyway, that's the story. It's just kind of odd, but it does have a good ending. So life is good again. So anyway, thanks for watching, and see you next time down the road. Bye.
Anne Murray, don't applaud, just throw money. That's what I need. What about me at WJDM? 14 minutes before 11 o'clock. Time to check out the mailbag. Oh, I'm supposed to read these little cards? Is that how it works? Oh, okay. The Chamber Singers will perform tonight at the Voorhees Chapel in Douglas. WJD.